Hello everyone, welcome to another roster review. Today, Dan's going to break down his Nottingham GT Super Major Adeptus Sororitas army for you. So guys, let me run you through the list. It's all Martyred Lady, so it's all the same, which is something that you don't see very often with sisters. There's usually a bit of mix and matching, but there's a reason for that we'll go through later. It's a battalion detachment and a spearhead, just because there's so many good heavy support units in the list. I couldn't fit it all into a battalion. So to run you through everything, I've got a Canoness. She's loaded up with all sorts of warlord traits and relics to make her a beast in combat. She has Righteous Rage, she has Martyr's Strength as two warlord traits, and she has the Blade of Sacrifice. She also has a Blessing, the Word of the Emperor, which is the one that can turn off invuns. I have a Palatine in there for the reroll ones aura. I've got 3 Battle Sisters to make a battalion. Three units of Battle Sisters to make a battalion. I've then got Sacrosancts are an amazing unit in the book. So I've got a unit of 6 of those with the halberds, and then 5 with the maces, just to give me some options. 2 units of 7 Repentia with the Repentia Superior. So they're a really cool threat, a definite must in a sisters list, I think. A Dog Martyr in there again, kind of sitting in that bubble of power. She has the Holy Piety and the War Hymn prayers. 3 lots of 5 Dominions with the special Stormbolters that give that scouting options to the 3 Rhinos that are also in the list. 3 Retributors. 2 of them have the Melter, and 1 of them have all the Heavy Flamers. I've then got another Canoness in there just for that Rod of Office. So it's like a 12-inch reroll ones, which comes in really, really helpful. A unit of 5 Seraphim with the 4 Flamers to drop down and flame something. And then 3 Mortifiers, which I think are very underrated in the Sisters book. So Dan's just walked you through what's actually in the list. Now we're going to have a look at what it all does, because I'm new to this. Any of you that watch any of our battle reports and have seen me play sisters, I'm always bloody Rose, man. I'm always bloody Rose. And, you know, I have Morn Var, I have Celestine, but Dan's got his own, this is like pure Martyred Lady, right? Pure
yeah, so this list has come about because I played the Celestine and Morven Var list for quite a while. And I found that with the meta changing as it was, you know, you've seen a lot of Vanguard veterans around recently. And Thick City and stuff like that, and I found that particular build it has a lot of bad matchups. Maybe not a lot, but it does have some bad matchups. Okay. And when you go into a tournament, it's about minimizing those. I also found as well that with secondaries, I struggled to get that third secondary with those. There was you take Engage, you take Rods, because you know they're sisters and they're very MSU, but there was never that third secondary that I could take.
Always struggled with it.
So I think when you're going into a tournament now, if you can go in with 3 secondaries that your army can always do, you're giving yourself the best chance. You're not leaving it that, you know, you're not going to get screwed by a bad matchup.
You're not leaving it to your opponent to give you some secondaries right with their list.
Because people are building lists to not give away secondaries.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. So you mentioned it was all our Martyred Lady, and that was for a reason. So why is it all our Martyred Lady?
So there are 2 reasons why I think a sisters list should be all one. House. I don't know, whatever you call them. Conviction, yeah, that thing. The first one is the Martyred Lady is what it gives you is +1 to hit if you're not a full squad size, which is nice. The main reason I'm taking it though is you also get miracle dice when one of my units dies, as well as when I kill an enemy unit as well. So I'm getting twice as many miracle dice, and it lets me max out that Leap of Faith secondary that is in the system. It's the only good one really that's in the Sisters Codex,
and it's easy to get if you're our Martyred Lady.
It maxes out at 12 points, and you will get 12. Like
pretty much all the time.
No way you can't get 12 with it. So that's what I was talking about. So I can go into any game, and I know I will pretty much max out, or at least I'll get like 12 of Rod, Engage, and Leap of Faith. I know I'm getting 36 points in secondaries minimum.
Okay.
And it just means that I'm very much playing my own game at that point. If I go into a matchup and they're giving away something really obvious, like bring it down or thin their ranks or whatever that may be, then great, I can take that. It saves me taking Rod, say, and then or engage and forcing me to be in these particular places on the board.
I was going to say that's the one advantage that your list has, is that it's equally good at all three of those: engage, rod, and leap of faith. Leap of faith's your best one, but engage and rod it's equally good at. So you can, if your opponent gives something away, you can see which of the ones you want to get rid of. It's not like you have to go, engage is my better one, so I've always got to keep that. If they give something away, I have to swap rod for it. You can have a look at which one's better for you in that game.
Exactly.
And swap that one out.
Like sometimes engage, I don't really like taking engage, if I'm totally honest with you, because it forces me to be in particular places on the board.
Yeah.
Whereas rod, I can just put one little unit there that I don't like, and then go, okay, I've ticked that off early in the game, and then like if it's say there's an army that I don't want to be close to. By not taking engage, it lets me play very reserved and play my own game. So.
Nice. Okay, so if we start from the top with this, after we know the house and why it's all one order, this canon.
Sorry, the other reason. I said
you said there were two reasons.
I said there were two.
Yes, you did.
The other one is what I really, really enjoy now is the fact that any unit can get in and out of the rhinos. When you take the two mix, you can only get the retributors in the rhinos, or you can only get the combat units in there. With it all being the same thing, I use the rhinos to bump units around the board to get them extra movement when they're getting out and then moving. So I can start the retributors in the rhinos. The retributors can jump out and nuke something. The sacrosants can jump in. The rhino can run off. There's all sorts of like cool little movement tricks that you can do when everything in your army can get into those rhinos.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
That makes more sense. Okay.
And that's why there's 3 rhinos there, because you can, when you really start to take advantage of it, you can move around the board really quickly.
Yeah, because I remember actually when I was playing them, I used to have the 3 rhinos, but I used to have like 2 with retributors in and then 1 with repentia in, but then I could never switch them around because my retributors were always Argent Shroud, and then my repentia and my sacrosants were always Bloody Rose, so they couldn't get into each of the rhinos, and I had to use strategic reserves and count on my miracle dice being good enough to get me in. And I didn't really have that flexibility. Okay, so that's why they're all one house then. That's a good reason, I think. That's a very
very useful.
Okay. So this Canoness then. Tell me, because I don't know what she does. Like, she's got a power sword. I know what a power sword does. Plus 1 strength is minus 3 AP and it's 1 damage.
Brutal. So I do have another Canoness model that I use, but I like to use Ethereal Stern or something like that. Ethereal Stern, because she's so, like, a normal Canoness model does not represent the damage that this thing does. So I use something big, like, this big model to go, look, right, when you see this on the board, stuff is going to die, so be wary of it.
It's none of this, I didn't know there was a character over there. She obviously stands out.
I use that to go, look, like, warning, this is coming in to kill your army. To kind of go over everything, and remember, I think she's like 95 points, 85 points, something like that.
Something cheap.
She's something ridiculously cheap. So her 2 warlord traits, she's got Righteous Rage. Now that's what Morven Val normally takes, because Morven Val has to be a warlord and she has to have that. So by not taking Morven Val, it lets her have it, and that means you re-roll all hits and wounds in combat.
That's very powerful.
Bonkers.
On a combat character, you can't ask for a better warlord trait on a combat character.
Exactly, yeah.
4 to hit a wound on a combat character is mental.
The next one that she takes is Martyr's Strength. So it means when however many wounds that she has lost, she gains that much strength and attacks. So if she's lost 2 wounds, she gets +2 strength and +2 attacks.
That's cool.
So
that's cool.
That ties in nicely with her relic, which is the Blade of Sacrifice. So the Blade of Sacrifice lets you take 1 or 2 wounds.
She cuts herself.
She cuts herself, basically. She cuts herself and then gets really annoyed at the fact that she just cut herself. And then for any successful wound roll that she does, so it doesn't have to go through an armor save, an vulnerable save, just a successful wound roll, it does that many more wounds. So she will go into combat with, and then she'll cut herself, which means she's then strength 6 with 6 attacks.
Okay.
And then because she's got the +2 from both of those.
Strength 6 with 6
attacks. And then she'll, and then so she's re-rolling hit rolls.
She's going to get 6 hits.
And she's got exploding 6s, so she'll probably get 7
hits.
But you never know, it could start going off.
and then she's wounding most things on 3s, because she's strength 6.
With rerolls.
With full rerolls, and for every successful one that is, it doesn't go any further than that. So it doesn't matter about the damage of that blade of sacrifice. No one's ever looked at that.
Yeah, the sequence ends.
The sequence ends, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter about the damage. It just does 2 mortal wounds for every successful wound roll. So it's yeah. I mean, when you can run in and just go, averagely there's 12 mortal wounds, and there's some really cool stratagems that you can use. There, like there is the one that I found really good. So say you're running into a character. If it's a psyker, you can get +1 to wound with her. So if you're running into these big psychic characters,
like keepers,
and all that kind of stuff, you can go in there and have +1 to wound when you're strength 6 already,
So you only
with
got
full
4s with
rerolls
full
to wound.
rerolls.
So you can still put the hurt on those kind of stuff.
Yeah, 4s with full rerolls makes a big difference because
Yeah.
it means if you go into something like a keeper, when you're hitting on 2s with full rerolls, essentially as well, you should get 1/6 and then you should reroll everything else because you're hitting on 2s anyway.
Yeah.
So you should get 2 6s actually.
Mhm.
So 6 attacks should give you 8 hits. And then when you're winning on 4s with full rerolls, that's 6. That's 12 more wounds, man.
Yeah.
Imagine if you run up to keeper and just went 12 more wounds. You've got
It's
4
crazy,
wounds
yeah.
left.
It's great. It's so good.
That is very good. And then
Um,
she's got an ability that you paid points for.
So
Word of the
if
Emperor.
you didn't think that was good enough, she then also has Word of the Emperor. It's so good. So it's the blessing. So you expend miracle dice to do it. You can only do it once per game, but it depends on the range. If you spend a miracle dice that is a 6, it's 6 inches, and then if it's 2 to 5, it's like 3 inches. And yeah, but it's ridiculous in that you don't need to spend miracle dice. She makes a unit fight last within 3 of them.
But is it the number of dice you've sacrificed?
No,
Or
just
the
number-
value on the
number
dice?
on the dice.
Ah, okay,
Number
okay.
on the dice. If
Because
you've got a 6,
when I first read that, I thought maybe it was like you've got to sacrifice 4 dice. To do
oh
it
yeah,
on
no.
Okay, it's just a value
Just
of a
the
4,
value.
and then it would be.
But the thing
okay.
is, it doesn't matter because
Wonderful.
it's the aura's range. So I mean, you can, if she's going in there with a unit, just do one that's 2 to 5, and it'll be a 3-inch range. Then.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. Like
That's
you don't. It's very rare. I've had to do the 6,
Okay.
to get the 6-inch range, because, and this is the crazy thing, the aura that she gives out is units within that aura when they're fighting in combat ignore invulnerable saves. So it's not enemy models
Don't
within
get
that
an
range
invuln.
don't get an invuln. It's my own units
In
that,
that
are
range,
within, not
ignore
only within,
invulnerables.
just within, ignore invulnerables.
Ah,
So that's
okay,
why
so it
you
doesn't
don't need
matter at
that
all.
massive aura. As long as you've got a model from that unit within 3 of her, they are ignoring invulnerable saves.
I was going to say, because it's not very effective on her, because she just ignores them anyway. She just does mortal wounds. That's her thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's not helping her. Why is it on her? But I suppose the units around her, it's just when you're sending the units in, she
Send-
doesn't even need to be in the
Send
combat, right?
Repentia in. When you're sending Repentia in
Yeah.
that are minus
Ignoring
3 flat
invulns.
2, and you go, oh, that's a nice
Yeah.
couple of units of Vanguard that you've got behind that wall.
And she doesn't even need to go into combat.
Nope.
She's just got to be in range of the Repentia
She's just
when
gotta
they
be
go in.
range of them, yeah.
Oh, that's very big. Okay.
So good.
Wow. Okay. And,
And
that's the first character in his army.
And, like I said, the thing that you get for free there is the fight last, and it's just incredible when you're sending stuff in, because this unit is very combat-y. It might not look like it, but it's got the Repentia and the Sacrosanct to just go in there and go, right, you're fighting last. So then that means that you can charge 2 units in a phase, because your opponent always has that interrupt option. When you're a combat army, you have to have some fight last. Otherwise, you can only
Okay.
charge 1 unit in a phase. So that's why I think that's
So I
really,
see.
really
So
important.
the ability it's giving her is fight last.
Yeah.
But once per game you can turn invuns off.
Yes.
But or fight last is always.
Always.
Okay, yeah, that's so
Always.
good.
So you have to go in and go, you're fighting last. That thing will fight over there and kill that, and now I'll kill this.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of, move forward. So
And then, guys, if you're thinking that the Canoness should be there to buff everyone, give them reroll ones to hit and stuff like that, you'll notice in Dan's list he's got a Palatine and another Canoness.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming they're the ones that sit in bubbles giving people reroll.
yeah, I mean,
ones to
she
hit
normally
and
sits in
stuff.
the bubble as a bit of a kind of, if you come near this, you will die.
Then you'll die, yeah.
Kind of thing, and then she starts running off towards the end. But yeah, the other Canoness, I needed another HQ for the spearhead.
For the spearhead,
And
yeah.
the Rod of Office is really good. It's so at the start in the command phase, you pick a unit within 12, and then that unit gets reroll ones.
Okay.
So when you've got these little units of Repentia or the Seraphim with the flamers, the Sacrosanct, maybe a little unit of Retributors that are kind of out on the side,
Yeah.
and to then go, yeah, you'll reroll once from 12 inches away. It's massive,
Yes.
and it's just really nice. You know, the Dominions as well. That they
Oh,
tend to get spotted around the board from wherever they're hiding,
Yeah.
and then they just come out and go, yeah, okay, they're rerolling ones now. And it's not for a character that I've used to get an extra detachment. She's really useful.
Yeah, being able to drop it on a unit, then sending them out with the rerolls and not staying in a certain range, it keeps your characters very protected,
Exactly.
and you get more worth out of it because they do that for basically every turn of the game.
Yeah.
They'll be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very powerful. So then your battle sisters, just your battle sisters. I'm assuming they're just for obsecking, action monkeys.
Yes, they're there. I can. The great thing. So there's another really cool thing about this list, guys. So the battle sisters are 3 power level.
Yes.
The unit of 5 Sacrosancts is 3 power level. And I don't know why. There's no reason for them to be 3 power level.
Sacrosanct, sorry.
Yes, Sacrosancts. The unit of 5 with the maces, they're 3 power level.
I thought you meant Repentia then.
Nope.
But actually Sacrosanct.
Yep.
Oh, man.
There's no reason for them to be.
No, yeah, that's a bit stupid.
So most games, I'll have a unit of battle sisters sat back, and then I will outflank 2 battle sisters and a unit of Sacrosancts for 1 CP.
CP.
And then the 2 battle sisters will come on to do the rod here, rod there,
Mhm.
and then the Sacrosancts will come on and go, I'll just auto charge 9 inches on, and just screw one of your little units up, or tie a tank up, or something like that. So that's why there's a unit of 5 Sacrosancts there, because they're 3 power level, which doesn't make any sense at all.
Nice.
Uh,
Tell us about these Sacrosancts and these Repentia. So these are your main combat units. You've got 4 main combat units, right? The 2 units of 7 Repentia, and then the 6 and the 5 Sacrosancts.
Mhm.
Why are they the numbers that they are? That's what I was wondering. 'Cause you've got a couple of 7s, you've got 1 6, you've got 1 5. Why does it look like that?
I've got 6 in there because I love Sacrosancts and I want more in the list, but that was literally the points that I had left, was to get 6.
Fair.
I would like a lot more, but just trying to squeeze everything in is really difficult. And then the 7 Repentia, I find, that's just the perfect number to wipe pretty much anything out that I want to. I've tried the larger squads, and because they've got the slightly larger bases, so you've got to keep that. They've only got a 6-up save, so you've got to keep them hidden. Yeah. I can fit 7 Repentia in a very small space. They can go out and kill pretty much anything. Like, they will kill a 5-man Vanguard unit.
Oh yes.
And
they're cheaper than a 5-man Vanguard unit, so they're trading up.
Yeah, and they're cheap. Nice. That Repentia Superior is wicked in that she makes them advance and charge. There is no point taking Repentia if you are not advancing and charging them. Yeah. That is just a fact. Especially when you go, okay, then I'll just I've got this 5 miracle dice. There you go. Then they'll move out 11 inches, and then look, I've got this 7. They'll charge 7 in, and then they're crazy reliable. If you don't want to use your miracle dice, the Repentia gives them the roll 3 dice and pick the 2 highest. You get to advance and charge, and then you get to roll 3 dice and pick the 2 highest for your charging. So they're very reliable. They're going in there with 4s with full rerolls to hit. There's no characters that you need for that.
Yeah, just zealots, right?
Yeah, they're just really reliable. They're dirt cheap, and then if that's not good enough, I get a miracle dice when they die.
So do you get 2 then? Because you get 1 for when the unit dies. Like, that's a rule they have.
Yes.
And then you get 1 because you're martyred.
It does say you get it in addition to any other.
Oh, it does say.
Rules, yeah.
Oh my god! So they die. They give you 2 miracle dice.
So they're just farming those miracle dice to get those leap of faith points.
Okay, that's powerful. The Dominions. So I noticed you had 3 units of them. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that, most people have 1 or 2. That may be because, that's the first thing you got to drop when you have like Morvenval or Celestine in your list. Yeah. But do you get to use the strat with all 3 units? Like, is there ever a point where you struggle for the CPs to be able to have all of them using the mortal wounds?
No. So with this list, it sometimes does struggle with the CPs, but only if I have to do the Retributor trick with the Flamers.
Okay, yes.
So if I explain that first,
yes, explain that.
I have my 3 Retributor units. 2 of them have melters, which obviously get out and nuke something.
Everybody knows what the melters do.
That's what
but
they
there's
do.
A special unit that Dan's got.
Now there's the Flamer unit, and I put it in specifically for Fixity, because averagely it just about very closely nukes a unit of 5 grotesques.
That's big.
which is
That's
crazy.
a lot of points.
It's
that
a lot
just
of
gets
CPs.
wiped, man.
It's a lot of CPs because they get out and you have to. You've got the 4 flamers and then you've got a cherub in there as well. So it's effectively 5 flamers, and you can go max shots on all of them. So that's 30. And then you go +1 to wound because there is a combi melter in there as well. So it's called the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
And you've got to fire a bolter, which is the combi bit of the melter. So it
Yeah.
fires a bolter and a melter from here, and then they're firing the flamers. So to get out, and then you stand a palatine behind them. So they're getting 30 auto hits, and it's strength 6. I don't know why it's strength 6 because heavy flamers are always strength 5 and everything else. But it's strength 6, so even when the grotesque are toughness 5, they're wounding them on 3s, +1 to wound 2s, and then you stand a palatine near them, and they're rerolling 1s to wound.
2s running 1s.
So you just go 2s rolling 1s. Okay, there you go. There's 29 wounds, and it just burns through. But the great thing is, like, I've used it so many times. Like sometimes I was playing Death Guard once, and Mortarion just came running over. And was smashing everything up, and I was like, right, okay, let's see what the flames do, and they just stripped him. They stripped him of like 10 wounds
because they wound on 4s.
Yeah, but yeah, I think in that list I had Morphin Val, just because I was trying out this with Morphin Val, so I was like, they'll have full rerolls. There you go, wounded on 4s with 4 rerolls.
Because that's the thing now, with the extra range, because with Mortarion you can't reroll anything within 9 of him, and with Flamers going from 8 to 12, you can literally just tag that 12 and go, woo!
So you just stand on the outside.
You can never touch this. You can never touch this.
Yeah, they're just awesome. They're so good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it is pricey because it's like 3 CPs to do it.
It's a CP intensive unit, but you've not had to pay many points for the unit. Right? Isn't it a cheap unit?
It's
like 110,
It's
120?
like 115 points.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than the melters. It gives you the options against the hordes and that kind of stuff. And I don't always have to use it. Sometimes you can get out and just go, well, I mean, if they're an 11 or more models in the unit, I'm auto getting max shots, isn't it? No, I'm not.
No.
But to just get out and just roll the dice.
You just win on 2s.
And you just
like
go,
Termagants jump out and you're like, oh, I've got a 30-man Termagant unit. And you go, yeah, I've got 5d6 shots. That's like 22.
Yeah.
And I'm killing on 2s with rerolls.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need max shots? I'm going to leave you with like 7 Gaunts.
Exactly.
But at that point, it doesn't really matter, does it?
So like they're just, you don't always have to use that all those CPs to do that damage. You've got to kind of decide. But the Dominions, it's like 1 CP to do that special thing.
That is big. The 1 CP on there, I think, is insane. But that's what I was thinking. I was like, when you've got the Sacrosancts and you've got the Repentia that want to go in, you've got the strats that you're going to want to use on your characters, and then you've got that Flamer unit that might want to use their trick.
Mm-hmm.
So do you struggle with the Dominions ever? But yeah, like you say, if you don't need to use the Flamers,
if you just decide like what's more, what is more useful, what do you need, and as long as you're not spending CPs on silly things. Like there's one to res your characters and there's one to do this and that. You just kind of don't try and use them. It's so easy to get sucked into the rerolls. You'll see on a lot of the battle reports that I use them in. There's these times when I really want to use a reroll and I'm like, no, I'm not getting sucked into that. Like I need these CPs for my other units to do things. So you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful with them. So that's them. You could talk about the Dominions, the Retributors, and the Rhinos all in the same time because that's what they're there for.
They go together,
Dominions,
don't they?
Yeah. So a Dominion unit and a Retribute unit go in a Rhino. It lets the Rhino scout before the game. I can't think of many times when I actually do it. Like properly scout for, unless I'm trying to hide in a ruin in the middle of the board.
Do they get to make a normal move, or is it a normal move up to 6 inches?
Up to 6, yeah.
Oh, so okay, they don't get to go 12.
No.
Okay.
No. So you never really like throw them out unless you've really got your back against the wall. It's just nice to have that threat. Because your opponent will go, oh, what's the threat range on them? And I'm like, well, I'll move 6 before the game, and then I'll get out 3, and then I'll move 6, and then I'll shoot 24. And then they're like, oh, right, okay.
So off the back of my board edge then.
So it really makes your opponent think. It's a cool thing to have. And like I said, that stratagem to do the mortal wounds on the Dominions, I will use it, even if they've not got any rerolls near them.
Okay.
All you need to do is spike them 6s, and just put 6 mortal wounds on anything. Whether it just be a tank, a dreadnought, it could be a little unit, just anything really. I think about shooting through a unit of Vanguard veterans or whatever. It's always worth just going, there's 6 more wounds, mate.
Yeah.
So
And the Dog Martyr, she makes units obsec, doesn't she?
yeah, so that's the other thing. That's the other reason, and well, let's say the other reason. It's another reason why you take Martyred Lady. They have obsec tricks. There is a stratagem that they can use in their own little supplement to give a unit obsec. Just in the command phase, you go, you're obsec, and then when she can do it as well, you're obsec.
Yeah, you
And
get
there are so
multiple
many
units.
games where I've won just because I've gone.
Oh,
You've let
obsec now.
the amount of times, honestly, because I'll throw a unit of Dominions out, and they've got like it's nice to have them within 12 to get because they're
Double
rapid
shots.
fire to get the double shots, and then my opponent will kill 4 of them, and then I'll go, okay, I'll use this one on the miracle on the morale, so there's
Just
one
keep
left,
alive.
and now she's obsec, and now she's just going to run onto your objective, and they go, oh. And then the Repentia as well. The Dog Martyr can just go, they're obsec, and then the Repentia or Superior go, they can advance and charge, and then they just move out, advance and charge, roll 3d6, they charge in, take an objective off someone.
It's big, man.
So to
Very
just be
big.
dropping this obsec all over the place, it's in the sister mirror match is amazing. It makes
Okay.
you win the sister mirror match.
Okay. One thing that did confuse me was you had a unit of 5 Seraphim in there with 4 Hand Flamers. Now, aren't they, even though the Ministorum Heavy Flamers are like strength 6,
Mhm.
aren't the Hand Flamers still only like strength 3?
Yeah, something like that. But I think they're strength 4 actually.
I thought they might be because the
they're
big
strength 4.
flamers are strength 6.
Mhm.
I thought maybe their hand flamers
I
are
think-
strength
I
4,
think
which is
they're
why you've
4.
got them. But
They're there. So I couldn't decide between a unit of Seraphim or a unit of Zephyrim.
okay,
And I was toying between them, and then the problem is with the Zephyrim, if Zephyrim don't have Morven Vol to back them up, they're not really that good.
Yeah.
And then
they really come into their element when they got 4 rolls to wound.
Yes,
the Zephyr.
exactly. And then the Seraphim, they give you that extra option. So I use that. They're a really cool unit, the Zephyrim, for deep striking down and then going, oh, there's a 9-inch charge, and then
Yeah.
but then they don't. When they get there, they're not very good because if you deep strike them in, they've got no rerolls. And it's 2 CPs to give them +1 to wound, which is just not worth it on a unit of 5 Zephyrim without rerolls. So I've put the Seraphim in because they've got the trick that they can use with the stratagem to deep strike down, shoot in the movement phase, then shoot again in the shooting phase. So really cool for stuff like Catans. To start doing stuff out, and then clearing screens or whatever that may be, and then also as well they help in the Sisters Mirror match.
To thin people's strength.
To
toughness 3 models down,
toughness 3,
like Repentia and
Yeah.
stuff that don't really have a save. You just go, take 12 saves.
So that's what I was thinking, is that there's a lot of sisters out there. They help me in the Sisters Mirror match. You can still drop them in and go, oh, here's just a 9-inch charge, and they won't kill anything, but. I found sometimes that was what I was using my Seraphim for, to go and tie something up. Maybe not kill it, because you can't rely on them to kill anything. But they can still tie stuff up.
Okay. And then
so that's why I chose them over the Seraphim.
You've got 3 individual mortifiers.
Mhm.
Now you're paying CPs to have this detachment.
Yep.
Just for them, basically. So why?
The Seraphim and the Mortifiers. But
Yeah.
yes, because they win games. And people think I'm crazy. And honestly, I've spoken to so many Sisters players, and they're like, oh, it's a cool trick, but it's not that good. But so my battalion is stacked anyway. I cannot get anything else in there really. I've probably got an elite slot spare.
Mhm.
But if I want any more units at all, I've got to have something. And the Mortifiers, when you're talking engage on all fronts, they just smash it. They do really well. And
Okay.
they've got the heavy bolters, so they give me a bit of long range firepower, which my army lacks.
Okay.
So they kind of fill that slot in as well. But honest, people just forget every game. People forget about them. I don't think I've ever played a game where someone's gone, oh yeah, the Mortifiers are going to come on this turn, aren't they? They always go, oh yeah, Mortifiers. They're always surprised by it. And you can't use Miracle Dice on them or anything like that, so you can't just go, oh, here's an auto 9-inch charge. But it's great because they've got these 36-inch range heavy bolters.
Yeah.
They will outflank somewhere, and they're 3 individual units for 2 reasons. 1, I can get the 3+ save on all of them then.
Yeah.
And 2, because it gives me 3 chances at a 9-inch charge. Or 4 if I use a reroll. Because all I need is one of them to get in normally to tie something up or whatever.
Because they start in strategic reserve most of the time.
Because
as well,
they
don't
always start in strategic reserve.
Okay.
And guess how many power level they are?
3? So you got all 3 in reserve for 1 CP.
So I'm putting
Okay.
6 units in reserve
For 2 CP.
for 2 CP.
That's very powerful. The only thing I wanted to say though, the mortifiers, do you need 3, do you think? Do you think 2 would be enough?
If I really wanted something else, maybe. But it's
Okay.
not, like I said, it gives you that extra chance to get that 9. And 3 of them are so hard to deal with. They're really, people always, they go, oh yeah, the mortifiers. And they'll come on and do something and then they'll go, I need to sort them out. And whatever they dedicate, whatever they think will kill 3 mortifiers, never does.
So they always have to
Never does.
because you've got feel no pain.
You've-
You've got a 3-up armor save.
It's the 3 up
'Cause
armor
they're
save
one-man
and
units.
the 5 up feel no pain. It's never enough. Whatever they send over there never does enough. And then they just start wreaking havoc. They've got 10 attacks with full rerolls in combat.
Okay.
They fight when they die, and that screws so many people over. They go over there with
When they
something,
fight when
and then
they
I
die.
go, okay, he's going to fight, and then I'll just wipe that unit out. And there's still one there's always one stood there left on his own. And then you're like, okay, well, they're going to go over there, clear that, take that objective off you. They score points, and they earn their points back every game.
Okay. So it seems like you really like them
I
because
love them.
that was the only thing that I was looking at when I was looking through your list. I was like, the Seraphim don't really look like they fit in. And I was like, if 2 mortifiers works instead of 3, like if you don't need them all, you can always swap that 1 unit of Seraphim and the 1 mortifier out for 3 battle sister units. So you've got like 6 obsec units that can do actions and stuff like that. You can leave some at the back of the board while some are in reserve and things like that. You still got the 2 mortifier units, but then it all fits in 1 brigade because you can have 5 heavy supports in a brigade and stuff like that. So I was like, then you save the CPs from the patrol. But yeah, if 3 only work because there's 3 of them running around in the same place, then you probably wouldn't want to drop it.
Yeah, I love the 3 of them, and I agree with the Seraphim. But they're just really useful. Like sometimes if I don't think I can't deep strike them down or do anything, I will start them on the board and just go, oh, there's engage on all fronts first turn.
Okay.
It's a nice fast little unit to just move around the board, grab objectives. Again, don't forget, I've used them. I've deep struck them down, and I've gone, I'll rod, and then they'll try and kill them, and they'll kill 4. They always kill 4. Always kill 4. They'll kill 4, and I'll go, and they'll leadership 9, which is stupid.
Yes.
So so whatever miracle dice you've got will save them, and then you go obsec, and then I'll move them 15 inches with an advance onto their objective, and then they'll go, well, you're not getting any points next turn.
It's big.
So yeah, they're just cool for that,
Yeah, they're quick.
and you don't
They're
need the obsec battle sisters because you can make anything obsec.
Okay. That's cool.
So
Right, yeah, the last thing I wanted to say as well is you mentioned a lot of stratagems there while you were talking through it, but you have one where you can is it either fight or shoot in death?
yes,
Or is it just shoot in death?
you can fight.
Okay.
You can only make 1 attack. I
Oh, so
think.
it's not really used
So
for
it's
that.
a bit rubbish.
Okay.
But the shooting death is crazy. It never really works for me. Because
It doesn't work, but it's incredible.
When do you know what it is, right? And genuinely, because it never works, right, for me, I never use it as a gotcha. I always use it as something to put someone off.
Yeah,
So
oh,
I
remember,
will-
mate, they can shoot in there.
Yeah. And honest to God, I remember I was playing a Dark Eldar player the once, and it was beautiful. I stood 5 Dominions in the middle of the board, and because it was the one where there was 5 objectives, and I stood there, and he moved his Hellions over right next to him, and then and he was like, "All right, okay, then, so all I got to do is kill them, and then that objective's mine." And I was like, "Yeah, but when you shoot them, they're going to shoot when they die." And he was like, "Oh man, I can't kill them. I can't kill them." And then he charged them off onto some other objective. And I was like, yes, this is mine. That's 15 points
Mind
for me.
games. Mind
I will just go, yeah, if you touch them, mate, they'll shoot you. I don't mention,
There goes. Everyone coming to Nottingham this weekend, yeah. Everyone coming to Nottingham this weekend. Don't get caught by that.
Just know I will not roll a single 4-up because they shoot on a 4-up, and I will roll. I'll go, the sergeant shoots, no 4-ups. That is how it goes every time. So I'll just use it as mind games, literally.
Nice.
And I'll go, well, they'll shoot you, mate. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll shoot you.
And anyone coming to Nottingham, you're going to want to listen to this next bit now, because that's how the army works. Now we're going to have a look at what it struggles against and what really hurts it. So the limitations of this list then, Dan. What are you struggling against? What is, like, the hardest matchup for you? What do you go into and go, okay, this is going to be actually really hard? Like, this is an uphill battle for me.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's the high toughness, all kind of vehicles list. There's the two big ones at the moment are Thick City, which is all high toughness and just runs at you,
Yeah.
and all the Baby Knights. That's a thing at the
Okay.
moment. All high toughness and just runs at you, because this is very much like a glass hammer. It hits hard but then dies quickly back.
Yeah.
Very easily. And with this, it's surprising actually how few battles you'll try and fight. It
just plays the mission, doesn't it?
Plays the
it goes
mission.
around playing the mission.
The Melters and the Flamers and the Repentia are there to keep you distracted and hiding in your own deployment zone. I don't want you to come out at all. I want to get 15 points with all my obsec stuff, and I want to smash my secondaries. That's all. And my secondaries don't require me interacting with you at all. I don't even care that you're on the table.
Yeah.
So I just want to be left alone to play my own game. And if you start running at me and putting pressure on me and killing my units because they'll die to a stiff breeze, then I don't like it. So high pressure armies really. And the thing is, I can a lot of stuff like elite armies, because I've got the mortal wound option, I've got the Melters, I've got the Flamers, I've got the character that can go in that's strength 6 that does all the mortal wounds. If it's like an elite army, I can deal with that because I've got so much mortal wound output and a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But if it's high toughness, she's not very good at high toughness.
Yeah.
And then the Repentia don't like that either. And the Melters, although they're a great threat, they get out and hit on 4s rolling once, and there's nothing I can do about that. So
they do it once, and then they're dead.
Yeah, they do it once.
The toughness 3 1 wound models. I think that's the shame, isn't it? Like when you play against high toughness models with this army, you hit them with the Melters once, and then anything will kill them back because it's 5 wounds at toughness 3.
Yeah. So if it's that's it basically. Because like I said, if it's elite and it's putting pressure on me, like Vanguard Veterans or something, I can go, oh well, here's a 90-point character that'll just kill them. Or here's this, like I can deal with that because I've got little options, little like small damage options to deal with it. But if it's high toughness, I've just got my Melters will come out and try and do something, then they'll die, and then I have no answers for it. That's the thing.
So like Crusher Stampede would really hurt you too.
It would, but then there's the great thing that this does as well is it move blocks and just gets in the way because there's so many little units. So I know that it's the Dimikirons, right, that can run over the models.
Yeah,
so if I could try and deal with them, like say with the Melters or the Flamer unit, with the +1 to wound and all that lot, and try and tear through them, then the rest of it I can probably keep back. Don't forget, like I've only got to park a Rhino in front of one of those things, and in front of anything else, and it can't come through. But yes, I wouldn't like the Dimikir. I haven't played against Crusher Stampede yet.
I would find it interesting your army playing against Crusher Stampede.
But it depends as well if it kills enough. Like I'm not gonna let you multi-charge, so you're gonna send your big thing in, and it's gonna kill an 80-point unit of Dominions or whatever. You know what I mean? Like something that I don't
you just
care
spread
about.
out a bit.
Yeah, and I'll just carry on playing the mission, and I'll keep trying to deny your primaries as well, and that kind of thing. So
I was thinking more it would be quite hard for you just because like you'd get out, you'd do your multi-melter shots on like a dimmer or something like that, and then the Hive Guard would double fire and pick them all up.
Yes.
And then it'd be very hard to kill the rest of them.
But then
because they'll reduce damage by 1. They, the one that comes out will have a 4 up in and 5 in pain.
But it'll come over and like the Hive Guard will try thinning something out, and then I'll go, well, it'll shoot on a 4+.
Yes.
And then you try and put those extra wounds.
Put those extra retributors. Go,
So it's probably, and I mean, I know they've got a 4. They can put a 4 up input on the 1, so maybe it's just dicey. Are the Dimikiron Psychers?
No.
See, that'd give me my +1
that'd
to
give
wound.
them +1 to wound,
So I haven't played against it yet, and it's everywhere. So I'll definitely play it this weekend.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how you get on.
To be honest with you, like Thick City, it doesn't like Thick City, but all I need is my opponent to choose a bad secondary. Or maybe be a little nervous of the Melters or something like that. And then it just all I've got to do, because I know what points I'm getting. I know my secondaries, I know my primaries. All I've got to do is deny you enough.
Okay.
I've got to deny you enough points to make me win the game.
The other two things that I think that I was thinking maybe could cause some problems for you, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, is like hordes. So if somebody was to take like 3 blobs of 30 Devour Gaunts, that would hurt quite a bit, wouldn't it? Because even on the Overwatch, they get like 30 hits or something like that.
It would, but then that's what the rhinos are for.
Send them in first.
So I would make sure a rhino goes in first, and then it's followed in by something else. There's a lot of shots like the flamer, the seraphim dropping down and going, I'll shoot, then I'll shoot again. I've got the other flamer unit, the Dominions going in, with a lot of shots.
16 shots, yeah.
And then I can do the mortal wounds with them as well. The Repentia, they've got a lot of attacks because don't forget the Dog Martyr is doing the war hymn, the +1 attack.
Yes.
Him each time. So, and I mean, you've got that's another reason to take the Mortifiers, in that they've got 10 attacks. 4 rerolls to hit when they
start cleaning stuff out. Okay.
And just start going in, and so,
because I thought, like, if somebody put like Hive Guard in a building, that would be like a really good way of tackling this list. Like if you had 2 units of Hive Guard in a building, and then you had some Devourer Gaunts outside just in front of it, and the Hive Guard started opening all the transports, and then everybody had to run at these Gaunts, kind of thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. This list does not like Hive Guard. It's a fact, but because it's got those 3-up saves and stuff like that, and I've got the miracle dice as well, I will end up with a lot of, like, it's hard for the Hive Guard to know how much to put in.
Yes.
Like if you can't put like 3 Hive Guard into a unit with only 6 shots.
Yeah.
So you've got to put a full squad in there, and then if you get a couple of misses and a couple of things that don't wound, and then I roll some good 5-ups, or I use a miracle dice to keep one alive. I'm like, I've still got 1 there, and all I need is that 1 to go and do rod or do engage or make OBSEC and take points off you. So I end up with these little 1-2 man units just floating around, and if it's a 1-man unit, I'm still playing my game.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
That's the only upside. I'm really looking for a silver lining here, because I really don't like Hive Guard. But that is the silver lining, is it's hard for them. So that it's like to kill a 5, a unit of 5 sisters, they will have to fire the whole squad into them. Pretty much.
And that's the last thing I wanted to move on there. Talking of Hive Guard, the list doesn't like out of line of sight shooting, period, does it? No. Because it wants to hide and just play the mission. And it's a lot of toughness 3. And that's normally the downside to a lot of out of line of sight shooting, is that it's normally low strength, like strength 4, strength 5. But that hurts these guys. Like Triple Tempest Launcher would really hurt this. 2 Wyverns and a Manticore would really hurt this. Like things like that actually cause a lot of pain on, like it forces you to have to go and do something then before you lose, right? Before you lose too many things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what helps is, the reason why you get so much in this is because it's toughness 3. Like GW have tried to take that into account, maybe a bit too much, because it is a bit too cheap. But the other cool thing is they have 3-up saves. Most of them do. So if I'm hiding, I'm probably on a 2-up save because I'm stood in a ruin somewhere. So
and most out of line of sight things don't have much AP.
They don't. Yeah, it's 0 or -1. So I'm still stood there on 3-up saves or whatever. Yeah. So it's dicey, but I can survive. Like I said, I still they don't kill units.
Yes.
Which, as long as that doesn't happen, I don't really care.
Okay. And
but at the same time, I've had it before. I've played a game, and then the first 2, I've really focused on hiding and not having anything die, and then I'm not getting miracle dice. Because if you're not killing stuff, I've used miracle dice before to fail a save on a rhino just so I can get a miracle dice.
Oh my god!
Just to try and get a better one. Like, oh, here's a 2. Oh, you've killed that. Oh, now I've got a 5.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, so you do need stuff to die. Like, I need you to kill me just as much as I need to kill you to max my secondaries out.
Okay.
So you can't play the hidey game all the time. You have got to send something in.
They are, guys. So that's what the list might struggle against, and a few ways of how to mitigate the fact that you struggle against it if you play sisters. So those are the ways that you deal with the things that can maybe cause you some trouble, right? So there you have it, guys. Now, the final thing that we're going to go on to talk about is any modifications or like alternatives for if you like playing this style of list. So modifications, guys, I don't think there's that many, because this is like Dan's final tournament list. So you've practiced with this a lot.
Yeah, I've tried it out and it's evolved over a few things. So like modifications that I can say I've tried in the past are like adding the flaming unit in. I
Yes.
never used to have the flaming unit, and I played a game against Thick City and I was like, man, the melters just don't do the trick. So then I added the flamers in because I worked out that with those CPs, you can just take a grotesque unit out of the game, which
Yeah,
is
man.
against in that matchup is huge because they tend to spread out a bit.
So
So
flame unit is so cool, man. With the melter in there for the Holy Trinity.
same
it's really
with the
good,
you know
isn't
the
it?
Seraphim and the Seraphim. I've tried both of them out. I've
Oh, yeah.
tried putting Morven Varl in.
Yes.
I took a few things out, which I think I took the Mortifiers out to put Morven Varl in. And she's great. Don't get me wrong. She's really cool, and to have that character in there. But then your Canoness, your Killy Canoness, isn't quite as good. I mean, you can still go
It
Morven
loses the
Varl,
reroll to-
4 rolls to hit wound,
Ah, okay, yeah.
and then send her
And
off.
send her in.
So I was like, okay, I can still do that. But sometimes they're not in the right places to be, and all, you know. And I just found that more bodies was because I'm only interested in playing the mission. I'm not interested in killing you.
Because you lose
So-
like 3 units to take her, don't you?
So I just found that I wasn't playing the mission as well. And if
Okay.
my end game is to do that as well as I can, so why am I doing this?
Yes.
So that's the kind of conclusion that I came to.
So
Yeah.
the brigade, I think that's an interesting modification.
The
'cause it
brigade
saves
is a-
3 command points.
It's a really cool idea, and considering I struggle for the command points, and it's not something I thought about, if I'm totally honest with you, I forgot brigades even existed.
you normally only ever see a brigade in like a full guard.
It's
army.
God, right?
Like
It's
no
God.
one else
I've
has a
never seen
brigade.
anyone but God do a brigade. So the brigade is a cool idea. I will definitely have a look at. Like I said, you could drop one mortifier if it's just a case of that to save 3 CPs.
Oh yeah.
Because there are so many cool stratagems, like resin characters and stuff like that. And at the moment, I'm having to choose what
Oh,
I
yes.
want to do in the game.
Yeah.
And it might free me up to be a bit more aggressive with that, or give me a few more options. So I'll definitely look into that. I love that idea.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then there was the Crusader idea that we spoke about earlier, adding a
Mm.
couple of Crusaders in because they're so cheap, 22-point units.
Yes. So when I wrote the list, I suddenly realised, I looked back over it and went, oh, I've got no Crusaders in this. That sucks. And I was trying to work out what I wanted to drop to get the Crusaders in. And then I realised, I was like, Crusaders are cheap units that come on from outflank or whatever and do secondaries. And I've already got them. I've already got the units that I want to do that. I've got my 2 Battle Sisters, I've got my Seraphim, I've got my Mortifiers getting me engaged and stuff like that. So I just don't need them.
Nice.
I agree that they're nice, but the stuff that I've used to fill out my battalions and whatever already do that. They already
Okay.
fill that role.
Okay. And the final thing I wanted to ask you as well, like something that could be modified, is you've got these 2 units of Sacrosancts.
Mhm.
So you've got the 1 unit that starts on the board and that goes around with like your characters and stuff like that.
Mm.
Then you've got that 1 unit that comes on from Strategic Reserve.
Mhm.
Now, is that 1 unit, do you think a 3rd unit of Repentia would be a better threat than that 1 unit that comes on from Strategic Reserve? Like if Repentia did that too, they came on from Strategic Reserve.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the reason why I took those is that 3. I noticed that 3 power level thing in the codex.
Yeah.
Like, because that's just stupid. But the Repentia are so good, and the Repentia having that fight and death stratagem, they're just wicked. They're
Yeah.
such a cool threat.
I really like Repentia.
So I mean,
And they have the rerolls to wound
I
when they
definitely
go
could
in.
do that. But the thing is, though, I
The rerolls
want
to hit, sorry.
I want more Sacrosancts. I don't want to drop any. The great thing is with the Sacrosancts, I like a lot of the time I will outflank them, but sometimes there's an objective that's kind of out in the open, and so I'll keep that unit on the board, and then my 1 Canoness that isn't really doing much, I'll stand the Canoness on the objective and put them behind the wall,
Yeah.
and then I'll just go, well, you can't shoot that Canoness, you can't do anything like that.
Yes, big.
And it's just a cool little, and like that's just on the side, and I don't need to worry about it, and it's like off out of the way. So I think it's important to have the 2, but I agree that it's not enough. And
Okay.
yes, like you say, the Mortifiers are probably the first thing you would drop to get them in, but I love my Mortifiers, man.
One thing I did
I just
consider as
don't
well
know.
is, if you do the brigade idea,
Yeah.
if you do the brigade idea, you could drop a Rhino. I think you could drop a Rhino because you've got the CPs there. You could drop 1 Rhino. You could use those points to get another 6 Sacrosancts. So you get a whole nother unit of Sacrosancts in.
Yeah.
And then you could spend, you're gaining so many CP, you can use one of them to put one unit of Dominions and one unit of Retributors, maybe the Flamer ones, in strategic reserve. Then you still have 2 Rhinos full of Dominions and Retributors with Melters in.
Yeah.
The ones that you want to get in turn 1.
Yes.
In the Rhinos. But then you have the unit of, like, the Flamers, man. They come on 6 from any board edge, pretty much. And then they have a 12-inch range from there. They're reaching 18 inches into the board from any edge. You can pretty much get up to the middle of the board by doing that.
That's true.
There's only the 4-inch gap down the middle you can't reach, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you could put those in strategic reserve and use the points of the 3rd Rhino to get you a whole nother Sacrosanct unit.
That's a cool idea. Like that as
Could
well.
do that.
Yeah, I could, because like I totally agree with you that there's not enough Sacrosancts there. When I first started playtesting this list, I had 27 Sacrosancts.
Yeah, 309. They're just so good, aren't they?
Because they're a bargain.
They're so cheap.
They're so cheap.
They're too cheap.
They are way
Forget so cheap.
undercosted.
They're too cheap.
So I had 27 of them, and I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to have this. It'd be nice to have this. And they're like, they're slowly
adds up and up and up.
So, but yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of dropping the Rhino. It's really cool. I'll look
Nice.
at that.
Nice. So there you have it, guys. That is Dan's Sisters Army review. If you play him on Saturday, definitely watch this video. You know, I mean, you won't know to watch the video because you won't be watching the video,
Just, yeah, you know.
so you won't know.
If
that
you do
Saturday
watch it,
spot.
just make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make it worth it.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button, notifications bell, guys. And if you enjoy this content, or if you would just like to support the channel, if you would like amazing discounts off our web store, or, you know, if you want more content like this, including the fancy battle reports that we do every Friday, there's now an elite one that comes out every Wednesday as well for elite members only. So head over to glasshammergaming.co.uk and join the elite. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys all on Saturday and Sunday at the Nottingham GT, where, you know, most of you will be. And I hope some of you use this video to smash them. See you later, guys.
I guess.